Shalom Bracha. Get in there Shabbos. This week is Parashat Shalach. Chetam Raglim. This week is a war. It's Eretz Yisrael and the Iranians. Hashem gives siyata the Shemaya as He has done in all the wars before. The Bnei Yisrael to destroy their enemy that stood up against them. Last week, Erev Shabbos, we in the share of Taras Mashpacha, we Hashgacha Pratis came on to Amorid Gemachshava, Binigay thoughts which have to do with the war, and I would like to go it over today. Basically, what we said then, maybe a little bit more Marmakaimis, just in the form of Hagdama, to go into a little bit into what's going on, understanding what's going on in the war, and Bez Hashem, continue a little bit more. The things that we'll be talking about is not usually the derech that I go. It's more begeder called Shalshus Torah. Well, I think there's emes to it. There's kam yisodis we'll learn from this, and I think it's helpful. It gives us chizuk. They should help. Should be a chus for all the Yiddish kinder. And it's shul should have a shmira. And it's chuslar. It's wherever they are. And let's go and see out the Shemaya. The Gemara Masechet Rosh Hashanah Daf Daled says on Koresh was the one that gave rishus to Klal Yisrael to build the Beis Hamikdash. It says in the pasuk, and then I think Nehemiah said, the king told me, V'hashegel yesheves etzloi, and the shegel is sitting next to him. And we're talking about the building of the Yerushalayim over there, the Beis Hamikdash. And the Gemara says, what is this shegel? Omer Rabber, Leimen Mishmei Rav Kalbus, this is a dog. The king was sitting, and Nehemiah was talking to him, and there was a shegel next to him, and this was a dog. The Gemara explains why was the dog next to him, because he was intimate with the dog, just like Balak, just like Bilam had a donkey, so too he was mishamash with, so too Koresh had a dog he was mishamash with. And the Gemara brings this as a source to know that Koresh was nechmatz. In the beginning was a melech kosher, and then he soured. How do we know that he soured? Because we see that he lived with a dog. And the Mefarshim bring down from the Barbanel says that really the name Koresh means in Parsi a dog. That's actually what it means. And Barbanel brings down a whole story that he was actually Koresh was thrown away from his grandfather, threw him away because of a whole long story. His mother who was the daughter of the king, married someone who he didn't like, and he didn't have any food, and the king gave him milk, and that's how he grew, and that's why he named his name after it. Interesting, because really there was the first Koresh that let the Yidden go back to Yisrael, the time before Mordechai was included. His name was also Koresh, and Achashverosh, the Maral speaks about it on this Gemara. Was also, Esther called him a kelev, a dog, miyat kelev ichidasi. All the Malchi Paras were named after the dogs. And it was because of and the side of the dog is the side of Taiva, and the side of the Moral's Marech, that the whole tachlis, what they have is about znus, is about Taiva. And to us it means a little bit more, because Koresh really was a Yid. He was Esther's son, and he was mu'uriv with the Imus Olam. He forgot his shirish, and he totally was intermarried between the goyim. And not only that, he actually was intimate with a dog also. And and we find that that's the reason the Mefarshim say that the Gemara says in the second Beis Hamikdash there was a fire on the Mizbeach that was in the color, was in the shape of a form of a dog, and because the geula, the second geula, was tachas malchus koirash, tachas malchus paras. So that's why the geula, the fire on the mizbeach, which was tachas, started off being tachas malchus paras, was also in the form, in the symbol of a dog. And when we marach in this Gemara, that has to do with Taras Mishpacha. We won't get into it right now. And but the Yaris Devash points out that the reason what Klal Yisrael, the Gemara says that the first Geula was supposed to be like the second Geula was supposed to be like the first Geula in times of Moshe Rabbeinu, that it was the Nisim and the Floyos Yitzis Mitzrayim, but it was only Ba'ifin Koishi B'derech HaTeva on the Malchus Paras. Why? Because they were parrots and znus. I mean, in the times of Moshe Rabbeinu, in the Mitzrayim, they weren't nifrats b'znus, they weren't parrots. Because I'll say that's why they were zeichet to the Geula. But in times of this is Bayashani, the Navi speaks about a couple of places how they were parrots and they were married to Goyim, and that's why it was the Geula Shnia was b'koishi gadol, and it's like the Yaris Avash. That's why it was the Kelev on the Mizbeach, because the Kelev is Muna al Taiva, and he brings down the Gemara of Koirash and the Kelev, and that's why there was a Kelev on Mizbeach, because this Geula was with Koishi b'derech HaTeva. And as we said, Koirash was a Yisrael Me'urav Goyim, and the whole Geula from Esther was like that. And that's what the Gemara says by Yosef, that Yosef didn't want to be Kshura B'Kakelav at the Eshes by Tifar, Kshura B'Kakelav, by being Nichshel. If he would have been Nichshel at the Eshes by Tifar, he would have been Kshura B'Kakelav, but this world and the world to come. And Chazal in the Medrash says, whoever's Ba Ala Oiv T'Kachamim is Kshura B'Kakelav. Now, this gets a little deeper. What's the Nekuda that Chazal say Kshura B'Kakelav? He's tied to her like a kelev. And the Yaris Vash also brings down this Gemara. And what's the in of Kshur B'Kakelev? That the Yad Ramah says, that the Gemara says in Sanhedrin, that there were three that were Tashmish in the Teva, Kelev and the Erev and Cham, and the Kelev was Nenash, that it should be tied to a Shalshelas. The only animal, for all the animals that actually constantly are tied to a leash, is the Kelev. And that was the einish for the Kelev being Mishamash in the Teva. B'negea Nidin Nidan is, the idea over here is that the only animal that Kshur B'Kakelev has a leash is the Kelev. And that is the idea that we went, the Geula was Tachas Koirash, because we were constantly tied to him, Tachas Koirash with a leash. And that's the Geula B'derech HaTeva. Geula B'derech HaTeva means that you're tied to the Umas Olam, and you can only do it under their Rishus. That's the Oimik over here, what's going on. And the Rishna, the Heilige Rishna said, we said over in the Heilige Rishna, and similar is for the Chofetz Chaim, that the Geula, the Los Lavoi, will be in Ba'ifin that it was in the Bayis Shiny. Means, of course, there's Haftachas in the Nevi'as, in the Torah, how it's going to be. And V'lo Yoshav Davar Echad L'Yikam, everything is going to happen, everything the Navi says. But how is it going to start? How is the process going to start? It's going to be Ba'ifin Derech HaTeva, it'll be Koishi, because we will Poigim in Erayis, and Nida, and all different things. It's going to be a Geula in the beginning of a Geula of a Derech HaTeva. Geula B'derech HaKelev. That's what it's going to be. And the Geula B'derech HaTeva, basically this idea over here, what we're talking about, is the Gemara says that the Geula L'asad Lavoi could be in two ways. It could be Be'ita, B'chishana, it could be Be'ananei Kovid, or it could be Anireich HaKamar. Everyone knows all these Chazalim. And this all has to do with how it's going to be. Either it'll be B'derech Bayis Rishon, or it'll be B'derech Bayis Shiny. And this is what the Gedolim said, that in our generation that there was so much haskala and all the pekamim and all these things, it's going to be koishi and hard. It's going to be that's how it's going to be. I'm not going to be marach in the Chayim Kodesh in these inyanim. But that's the nekuda that the Geula Lasad Lavoi has two ways of coming. Chazal Marach and all the Gedolah Marach Ba'ifim Muflik, Bez Hashem, maybe hope for a different time, that these are two options, and we right now are on the derech of the not preferred option, the Geula B'derech HaTeva. In the last few hundred years, slowly we're getting closer to the ultimate redemption. And that is the Gula of the. But right now we're in the process of the Gula, like the second Beis Hamikdash. Now, so the derech that the Gula was in the second Beis Hamikdash, as we said, was through Malchus Paras. The Malchus, which has to do with Znus, the Malchus that has to do with the Kelev. And it's Kshur Beka Kelev, B'derech HaTeva. The Malchus of Iran, where is the Malchus of Iran? The Malchus of Iran is the Mokim Malchus Paras. That's Persia, that's a Malchus. Iran is Malchus from Persia. Mamish in that kisei, which Achashverosh and Kol Malchus Paras were. Now, Chazal say that there's Asara Kabbalas Nus Yard Del Olam, and Tishla, none of them the Arbaya took. And Chazal say Ein Chos Nis Kis Nis Shal Abayim. And Tosa says that Abayim are a paritz, a shtufa mezima. Yishmael is the shtufa mezima. Malchus Paras is the Maral writes in Netzach Yisrael and Avodah Zarah. Malchus Shmuel and Malchus Paras nechshavim k'mei Malchus echad legamri. Malchus Paras and Malchus Yishmael are one. Meaning to say that there are Shivim Imos. There were Shivim Imos before Avram Avinu came. Once Avram Avinu came, the Shivim Imos split into 35 and 35. 35 went to Esav and 35 went to Yishmael. And Malchus Paras was Nechnachs, in the end, that we're holding right now, was Nechnachs Tachas the Koyach of Malchus Yishmael. These things could change. But the idea is that as we find that this concept of, we find in Chazal that those in Klal Yisrael that are Aziponim are from the Erev Rav. We find a lot of different simonim of the Erev Rav in the Gemara and the Chazal, and the idea is, like Yitzchak Hutton says, doesn't mean that they're actually eneklach. It's just like he says, Kol Mish. We find different places. The idea behind all this is that when we're talking about Zera Yishmael, Zera Esav, Zera Erev Rav, we talk. What it means to us is those that are misyaches to that koyach, to that hashpah. So all the malchus, even Turkey. It's brought down from Kadmonim a few hundred years ago. Even Turkey, which is Be'etzem, is B'nai Yefes, ended up becoming Malchus Yishmael because of the hashpah. The ikar is from where the hashpah is the siachas. So if there are Yidden that are nishpa from the Umas Olam, they're misyaches la'achar Erev Rav. And the same thing, Paras Bizman Hazeh is the klippa from Yishmael. That's the idea over here, and that's what the Maral says. That's the reason why one of the reasons he gives for why it's not considered, Yishmael is not considered one of the Aber Malchis, because he says yes, it is. It's part of Paras, and we actually see in Chazal that in the times of Ekes Mashiach, there's going to be Malchus Paras and Malchus Roimi, and the simple understanding is that Malchus Paras is Shmuel and Malchus Remi is Esav, and Gemara has Machlekes, who's going to be stronger. But that's there are three koiches in the world. Yisrael, Esav, and Yishmael. Usually, Paras is the symbol of Yishmael, and so the Malchus from Iran, that is the Malchus of Yishmael. And where is that? That's Tachas. That they're sitting on the Malchus of Persia, which was also the symbol of Arias. And just like the Arabs are the Shtufa Zima. Now, the clip of Yishmael, the koyach of Yishmael that's in the world today, is split up be'ikr into two koyches. After the Novi Sheker died, it got split up into Sunnis and to Shias. Okay, everyone knows. There's a clip from Iran and the clip from Saudi Arabia, where it says Tisha Kab Nate Arbaya. The Pashtus is going on Saudi Arabia, but Iran is today the Iker Klippa Koishi, the Iker Koishi of the Klippa, the hard, the Taikif, the strength, which Klal Yisrael is causing problems with Klal Yisrael in our times, is the Klippa from Iran, the Koyach of Iran, the Shias. Iran is the one that's causing problems to the whole world. There is a medrash, not sure sometimes the Gaonim, but there is a medrash that speaks about that Melech Paras is going to have a fight with Melech Arbaya, and Arbaya is going to go to the Edom, take an Eitzah, and there'll be Melchama. And this is interesting because Arbaya, which is Saudi Arabia, which is also Yishmael, is going to go to Edom. They'll be fighting Melech Paras. Usually, Edom Yishmael is against Paras. And again, I don't think these Midrashim are actually telling us detailed stories. I think they're really giving us concepts of what's going to be. That means to say there's going to be the Koishi there's going to be the Melech Edom is going to be very strong. And then Melech and Shmuel is going to split up into two. There's going to be one that's also going to be very strong, that's Paras. And there's going to be one, Arbaya, which is going to be Nichna to Melech Edom, and they'll go for the help. They'll be together. Nichna will be together with Melech Edom, and we see from this Chazal that the Klippa Kosha of the Yishmaelim is going to be Malchus Paras. Malchus Paras is going to be the we'll call the Tzadara from Yishmael, and Saudi Arabia Arbaya will be the Tzadarach, the Tzadatoiv, we'll call it. And it's a big difference. Yes, Saudi Arabia is not the best place, but it's definitely a lot better. And they want to modernize themselves, and they're not interested in being shoylot in all the world, at least as of now. We're talking about everything in the process. Like we said, this is Shalosh Shudas Torah. Everything could change in the next Shalosh Shudas. But these are the concepts that we're observing. We're not going to talk about what's going to happen. We're talking about the concepts that we're observing. What we're observing is that the clip of a Malchus over the last period of time, that Iran is trying to enforce their beliefs on the whole world. They're causing problems over the whole Middle East and the whole world. They're always speaking out against America even more than Eretz Yisrael. And Mashenkein, Saudi Arabia is fakert, it has a shtikach to America, and these are the Klippa Kosha. This is the Iran, the Klippa Raka, Saudi Arabia, and the Ikka Chiluk, what's Negea us, is very important. People don't speak about it, don't like to speak about it, but it's extremely important. The Ikka Klippa, the Ikka Koyach of Iran, is all about Harabayas. Saudi Arabia is shoylot on the main Makom Hamakudish Etzlam. It's Etzel Ishmaelim, Mecca. That's their main place. Iran, that's a threat to Iran because they consider themselves the custodian. They own it. They're shaylat on that place. So in order to be misnagid to Saudi Arabia, they actually, for other reasons also, but this is one of the reasons they're pumping up about the Har HaBayis, the Temple Mount, Al-Aqsa. They made a whole thing out of it. All the Hamas wars is all about Al-Aqsa. All the houses, all the soldiers observed how all the houses have a picture of Temple Mount in Hamas. This is all instigated by Iran. That Iran is the klippa of Har HaBayis, that's on top of Har HaBayis. We know that it says in the Zohar that Ikis Mashiach, that the Nischis of Mila, Iran is going to be, that the Ishmaelim are going to be shoylet on Har HaBayis, on Eretz Yisrael, and Hagam, that most of the koyach of Arabs were taken away, Siyat Shemaya, through what's going on now, the Yitnashah in Eretz Yisrael. But still, even after we won the war, 6-Day War, we got to Har HaBayis, we gave over to custodians, to the Jordanians, and the Arabs are all busy with the Yesholit on the Makkah Amigish Chaman al-Islam. The Imre Chaim said after the 6-Day War, that there would be a way to take it off the mosque on top of Mount. Without a Milchama, that's the right thing to do, is how much pain it's causing him. So the klippa that's right now, there's layers and layers. The gula comes slowly and slowly, a little bit more, a little bit more. The thin klippa that's now shoylet on Makkah HaMikdash, that's still Malchus Yishmael, and the ikar coming from the koyach of Iran, because Saudi Arabia fakert, they want to undermine it. Many people next to the Saudi crown prince and bin Salman, they deny fakert. They deny that it has nothing to do with Arabs. They're not interested in it. Fakert. If Iran falls, there'll be a lot more, less hisnagdus for the Yidden to be shoyt legamri on Makkah HaMikdash, to take over the Makkah HaMikdash and build the Beis HaMikdash. Because the ikar hisnagdus for the Yidden today to build the Beis HaMikdash is the Arabs' voice of Makkah, and the kingdom of Saudi Arabia is b'chlal, not so interested in it. Many of them hold, you have to destroy it, the mosque. Many of them hold has nothing to do with them. They hold it's a lie. So there's a big fight over here between these two klippas, the klippa Akasha, the klippa Raqqa, the klippa from Iran, the klippa from Saudi Arabia. And what we're now under, the Malchus Paras, the Koishi of our Gullus, today all the problems in Eretz Yisrael are be'ikr through Malchus of Iran. Because even Saudi Arabia has relations with Israel, at least hidden, and that all the koyach that are misnagid to Israel are be'ikr b'koyach the Iran. Again, Saudi Arabia has a little bit in it, but it's be'ikr b'koyach Iran. And we know that the whole war started now partially or fully because they didn't want Saudi Arabia to make a peace with Israel. Means to say, coming out a peace with Israel with tremendous very destructive to the whole Arab Al-Aqsa movement against the Yidden in Eretz Yisrael, and that's why this war actually happened, as we know. And so this war be'etzem is a machama on the klippa to be marvered the klippa of the arlo, the klippa of the mila without Shmuel didn't have a full mila, and that mila is still being shaylat on Har HaBayis a little bit. And now, the Milchama right now is a Milchama on this idea. Many soldiers felt it and lived it when they go to Gaza, and this is why they instigated the war. And this is the last Klippa Akasha on that Makkah, is the Milchama of Iran. Again, and Iran is the symbol of Paras, is the symbol of the Kelev, is the symbol of Gula B'derech HaTeva. And until now, every time Yidden had to have the Gula started in a big fanem from the emancipation. Started getting get equal rights, and then they got Balfour Declaration, and then the Medinas Israel. These are all different steps, and then the 6-Day War. All these things were only with the help of the Umas Ha'olam. All these things were only with the help, like a kelab. We were always under a leash to the Umas Ha'olam. And all this is the galus of the kelab, the galus of the Derech HaTeva, the galus of Ani Hareichev al Chamor, Klal Yisrael Zaniyim fighting the Chamor. It's al HaChamor. We're trying to be Mizgaber on the Chamor. Chamor is Yishmol. Chamor is Yishmol. It's klar. Shvi lechem poyim HaChamor. Am Adoim LeChamor. And Yishmol comes from Mitzrayim. B'sar Chamorim B'surim. And this the kosher on this gula is all in the clip of Kalev. And it's fascinating to see that what the Hashem put in the name of the head of the Medina, the name of the operation is called the Rising Lion, based on the pasuk before they went into war. Bibi Netanyahu put in a tefillah, wrote on a kvittel, we'll call it in the Kaisel, the pasuk Hein Am Kelavi Ykam Vikari Yitnasha. Hashem put in using messengers to show that this is hopefully this is the starting of a new operation for the Rebbeinu Shalom's operation. That he's starting the klippa, he's being shoyve the klippa of the kelev, and he's starting an operation of Hein Am Kilavi Ykam Vikari Yitnasha. We spoke about the last time, but the 6-Day War also was the war of a Shagas Ari. But hopefully this time it's not just a Shagas Ari, like the Navi says. That's how they came in. They came roaring into Yerushalayim. Like we spoke about, the Navi says that when the Yidden are going to come back to Yerushalayim, it's going to be like the roaring of a lion. Now is the time that the lion has to get up and stop roaring and to fight. Hein Am Kilavi Ykam Vikari Yitnasha, which is Zeiche, the Hashem should be Shefea, the Kedusha, he should be Shoiv the Klippa of the Iranians, the Shoiv the Klippa of Yishmael on the Shlit of Harabayas. And just like we find that there was Niftechi Harakia, and there was a major Oiris Gedolos after the 6-Day War, they brought Klal Yisrael back to Tshuva, hundreds of thousands even back to Tshuva. Niftechi, so much different. The world is a different world since then, because of the grace Tzinoiris, the tubes Hashem is opened up, because the clip of Yishmael got taken off the Mokum Harabayas, even though it got back a little bit afterwards, but still not in that madriga it was before. Hopefully now that Hashem's going to take off Legamri, that klippa from the Iranians, from Yishmael, and it'll be Hein Am Kelavi Ykam Vikari Yitnasha. It'll be a kima from Hashem's going to tell Klal Yisrael, kima, stand up, and we'll be able to have a further step connected with this Mashiach. But if in Nigla, and hopefully it's going to stay open this time, they're not going to have a shlita on us. And Bez Hashem, I hope to get a little bit deeper into these concepts, to explain these ideas in the next year. Siyata Shmaya.